So this is my first speech in front of a transportation conference. So please wish me luck. Time flies and you need to cherish every moment of your time, because I just remembered being in you all's positions about over 25. It's been 25 years now since I was in school at A&T. And in December of 2022, I celebrated 20 years with the federal government. And so whenever you have to give a keynote speech and you think about your life, and you see your first transportation professor at the Transportation Research Board meeting in January, and she wants you to give a speech, you might have to remember, get a journal, document your journey. And so Dr. Perkins was a very big part of why I'm standing in front of y'all today. She's a very big part of that. And there were 2 days when I was in undergrad that I remember being in Dr. Perkins' office, whining about my future, trying to figure out what I was going to do after I got out of school. And so the first of those days is when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do after I graduated. And so Dr. Perkins asked if transportation was the avenue I wanted to take for my career. And I said yes, because I like transportation. And so she told me to call one of her former students to talk about the Federal Highway Administration. I didn't know what Federal Highway Administration was. Her student's name is Tamiko Burnell. She is actually on the front of the program. She's there's a Federal Highway Administration motto right behind her picture. And she was a civil engineer with the Michigan Division of Federal Highway. So I called her. She told me about the Professional Development Program, which is an excellent program if any of you are interested in working for Federal Highway. Is our 2-year training program where you go in and you're assigned to a division office and you learn about Federal Highway Administration. You're assigned to a discipline. I was assigned to highway safety. And then you do assignments all over the country for 2 years. And then you get assigned to a permanent office. And Tennessee was the office I was assigned to. So learned all about the program. At the time, they didn't have usajobs.gov where you put in your application. So I just sent my resume to Atlanta. And so Federal Highway calls me and they said, "Hey, we got your application. What are you applying for?" I said, "I don't know." They said, "Oh, okay. Well, when you send your application or when you send your resume, you have to actually apply for something." So I just let that go and I moved on. And so when as the semester went on, I was going out for job interviews. I went interviewed with the North Carolina Department of Transportation. I didn't want to work for North Carolina DOT because I did 2 internships with them. And so they offered me a job on the spot and I said, "I'll get back to you." So I went to Dr. Parker's office, sat in there. The second time I was in there and I was just whining. I was just like, I just really don't want to work for them. She said, "Jessica, what do you want to do? What is it that you want to do?" So put a pin in that moment. A couple of weeks before that, Solomon Cavaness, who is now the Commissioner of Transportation for the city of Atlanta, he was one of my mentors. He told me, I went to the University of Tennessee, or I'm at the University of Tennessee as a graduate student. I am there for free. They paid for my tuition. They gave me a monthly stipend, and I am interning with the city of Knoxville. And that's what you should do. So remembering that conversation, I went to Dr. Perkins and I said, "I want to go to the University of Tennessee. I want to get a graduate degree for free, and I want them to pay for it, and I want a stipend." So the next day, I'm at the university, or the A&T has a Transportation Institute on campus. Just found out that they won a UTC award, yay. And I got a phone call from Dr. Fred Wegman at the University of Tennessee. He said, "Yeah, I heard you want to go to graduate school. And we can pay for it, and you can start May the 31st. This was like March, end of March when he called me. I was graduating on May 23rd. I said, okay, yeah, sure. So I hadn't filled out an application. I had taken the GRE, but I hadn't submitted any scores. He accepted me on the spot, and that's how I got to the University of Tennessee. Again, never talked about this with Dr. Perkins. Don't know if she called someone or anything, but they called me the next day and said, hey, you can come to graduate school. So, you know, two or three morals of the story of that is, one, your professors are your biggest allies. Talk to them. They have a lot of connections. Go in there, tell them what you want. You might get what you ask for. And then network. Continue to network with people. There are a lot of different people in the program listed that are here today that you need to talk to about just different things that you want to do. And so that's how I got to graduate school. It was awesome. Like I said, I started on May the 31st. I had one class a day, 4 days a week, and that was it for the summer. And then at the end of the summer, I started my internship with the City of Knoxville Traffic Engineering Division. I did not like the work I did for them because I was busy installing traffic counters, filing crash reports, just doing crash diagrams, cutting. I had to cut trees. Like I had to get a pair of shears and cut branches away from signage. But when it came time for me to work for the Federal Highway Administration, and I applied for the job, and they looked at my resume, they said, this is all the stuff that we need in a safety engineer. You want to come be a safety engineer? I said, yeah, sure. I didn't put in an application for that either. You have to do that now. But I didn't put an application for a safety engineering position. They looked at my resume and they said, this is all we need. And so when you are developing, whenever you're try to do as many research or internships as possible. I had 8 internships between the time I was at A&T and the time that I left the University of Tennessee. And document your experiences, and you want to document them in 3 ways. Your accomplishments. And just keep this as a running list. I can write on this board, right? I wasn't planning to. I can write on the board, right? Okay, so the first one you need to do is talk about what the problem was. Okay, and then you need to develop a couple of bullet points on what did you do. And then you need to talk about what was the result. Because in your interviews and on your resume, that's when you're interviewing for positions, they want to know your accomplishments. And so they'll ask you a question. Tell us about a time where you had a difficult experience, and what was the result? Well, and I was telling Dr. Perkins, I came to Tennessee and there was no highway safety improvement program, and I had $50 million a year to spend with the Tennessee Department of Transportation. And so to make sure that they were spending the funds correctly, I met with them. I learned about what they did with the program. I conducted a series of process reviews, etc. And now they have one of the top safety programs in the country. I did that's a very cookbook, short explanation of everything I did, because it took me 17 years to get them, really the way that they need to be. But they do have one of the top safety programs in the country now. And so that is how I got to Federal Highway. And yes, definitely accomplishments, develop them, and make sure that you have them documented in a way so that when you go out for interviews, people understand all the different things that they're looking forward to when they want to hire you. Okay, so then going into my career with Federal Highway, graduated from the University of Tennessee. I was supposed to work for Norfolk Southern, but that didn't work out. And so I spent 3 months working for the Tennessee Transportation Assistance Program, which is a local transportation assistance program at the University of Tennessee, where we go out and help locals with different transportation needs. Like, I had to go help teach an administrative assistant how to install traffic counters. And it was her and the fire marshal in a very small town in Tennessee. But they needed those traffic counts to be able to justify installing the traffic signal. You know, small developments and communities don't have the resources that a large city has. So, you know, University of Tennessee, City of Knoxville, I got some really good experiences. And so I got to the point in my career where I was trying to advance, and it was just really difficult. I was having too much fun in Nashville and didn't want to move. And I was having too much fun with the Tennessee Department of Transportation. I love working with them and didn't want to work with anybody else. But finally, in September 2021, I had just been rejected from the last job that I was rejected from. And I thought my career was over. I was sitting there just like, what did I do to get here? You know, I took all the leadership classes. I did all these special assignments. I led all these committees. What did I do? And so I had to reflect. I had to sit there and reflect on the things that I, thought about throughout my whole career, different little nuggets. And so I have 5 of them. The first one is, you have to like where you live and you have to like where you work. And that was a quote that I got from Jim St. John. He was the director of field services with Federal Highway at the time. He reported directly to our executive director. And so, like I said, I loved Nashville. I loved working for my division. I loved TDOT. I didn't want to work anywhere else. And I never wanted to say, oh, I hate where I live. And so, like, why am I working somewhere where I don't like living? It was just one of those things. The second thing is, apply for the jobs that you really want. It's only an extra $75 in your check. It might not be that much more in your check. So don't go out for a position just because it looks fun or not. It doesn't look fun. It's going to get you to a certain level. Don't do that. And so I realized I was picky about the jobs. I'd only gone out for 8 jobs in the 17 years I was with the Tennessee division. And so I was just like, don't be too hard on yourself, Jessica. You've been picky. So, yeah, that's why you didn't get the job. So, the third one that I have is actually from William Ernest Henley. I'm the master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul. That is the end of Invictus. And I had so many people coming up to me saying, oh, we need you to move up. And why aren't you moving up? And all this and all that. But I knew exactly what I was doing. And sometimes you just have to leave it alone, continue to do well, go on to my next point, bloom where you were planted, continue to do well, continue to develop accomplishments. Every year I was just making sure I did something new, something more innovative than I had done the year before. And then lastly, I had to get gospel on me. After you've done all you can, you just stand. Donnie McClurkin. Because I was so frustrated with my career. I was just like, I can't do anything else. I had hit the end of the pay grade scale for my position and everything. I was just like, that's it. I can't do anything else. But I did do something else. I got someone else to look at my resume because, your resume, the way it's structured, especially for the positions that you're going out for, makes a world of difference. So you have to really do that. And so I had someone else look at my resume. The next month, 2 positions came out. I got both of the positions. And, now I've been working in my new position for the last 6 months, and I love my new job. So I'm going to end my speech here. Again, thank you, Dr. Perkins. This was excellent. Your impact on my life is huge. I'm very happy that I was able to speak with you all today. Good luck in your futures, and feel free to reach out to me.